Hey guys, it's your boy Josh here, coming at you with another poem analysis video. Today I'll be reading Those Winter Sundays by Robert Hayden. And as I'm going through this poem, I just want to show you guys what I think the text is trying to convey. And yeah, as usual, I hope you guys enjoy the video. So just before we get into the poem here, I just wanted to give some background about the author. So Robert Hayden was a 20th century poet, and his parents separated before he was born, so he spent most of his childhood in foster care. And I actually find that to have some significance with this poem, as we're going to see just in a bit here. And most of you may not know this, but he served as a consultant in poetry to the Library of Congress, and he was the first African American writer to hold the office. Those Winter Sundays by Robert Hayden. Sundays too, my father got up early and put his clothes on in the blue-black cold. Then, with cracked hands that ached from labor in the weekday weather, made banked fires blaze. No one ever thanked him. I'd wake and hear the cold splintering breaking. When the rooms were warm, he'd call, and slowly I would rise and dress, fearing the chronic angers of that house. Speaking indifferently to him, who had driven out the cold and polished my good shoes as well. What did I know? What did I know of love's austere and lonely offices? So in the first stanza, the author is giving us the scene of his childhood memory that he's reminiscing on. In the first stanza, the father is described as a laborer and is planning to go start a fire in this blue-black cold winter. And the author then points out that his father's hands are cracked and ached from labor in the weekday, as you can see here in lines 3 to 4. And to me, I think the author points this out because he's sympathizing over his father's efforts to commit to his duties as a father, which is essentially to provide comfort to his son. And just how he ends the stanza here, no one ever thanked him. I think at this point, like now that he's remembering and reminiscing over this childhood memory, he's realizing that we don't really appreciate things our parents do for us when we're young, but it becomes more visible as we grow older. Now moving on to the second stanza, the author seems to suggest that he was oblivious to what his father struggled to do for him. Like his father is doing all this work in the morning and it's for the best interest of his son. And when his father calls him down here at the end of line 7, he'd call and slowly I would rise and dress, fearing the chronic angers of that house. Now when I think of chronic, think of long-term, so long-term angers of that house. To me, that makes me think that his father might have been hard on him, like yelling, maybe screaming or shouting. But to be quite frank, that's any father has done that when trying to raise a man. But as a child, the bigger picture isn't always as transparent as it later becomes. So I felt like that was overruling his vision or his view of the situation, his view of his father. So here in the last stanza, the author seems to be expressing his regret of lack of gratitude towards his father. Like, he begins by remembering how he spoke indifferently to him when he realizes that his father had driven out the cold, so like warmed up the rooms, and polished his good shoes as well, which maybe I'm assuming is for when they go to church, considering it's an early morning on a Sunday, but I'm not really positive on that. And so as he's looking back on this moment with his father, it's almost as if he should have changed or was expected to change after seeing like his father's sacrifice, his effort, or just like invested love in him. The poem ends with a rhetorical question by saying, what did I know of love's austere and lonely offices? Now initially when I read this, I looked up the word austere in the OED. Now austere means harsh-like or stern. And so when put into context, I considered what lonely offices is trying to convey. So when I think of the word offices, I think of a room or a place where somebody completes their duties and or responsibilities. Now with these two placed adjacent to each other, I believe that the speaker is trying to say that when looking back on his father, he didn't really know and or understand like how hard love's duties and or responsibilities are for a lonely father. And I say lonely father because throughout the poem, the speaker's mother and or the father's wife isn't mentioned at all. Seems to be present here, so it leads me to believe that his father is a lonely parent with loads of responsibilities on his shoulder, and he's just trying to make ends meet. Thanks for watching this close reading on Robert Hayden's poem. I hope you found this video profitable, and I'll see you guys on our next sonnet.